Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video I wanted to take a close look at the 8 series graphics card from Nvidia. Yep, I am an Nvidia fanboy, and the reason especially because I was really starting with gaming again back in the day with these cards. Yep, I stepped into the big game because then we have grown from tiny graphics cards to basically like toasty irons, because these things are huge and they are getting really hot. But the reason I wanted to make this video is because not only I love Crysis and I love these video cards, it's more like an overall experience what I had back in the day, and I wanted to share it with you. But how is it now in 2021? Old graphic cards are obsolete and basically like e-waste sometimes, but for me it's like a collectible. Sounds maybe kind of weird. People love to collect retro games like myself, but I also like to collect old graphic cards. Maybe nowadays we're having an onboard graphic card from Intel that is basically more powerful than a graphic card now from 10 years ago. If you think about it, it's quite crazy, and that is also a reason why I want to talk about graphics cards. But having two identical graphic cards, we can put them in as a lie option. We're not going to do this, otherwise this video is going to be too long. Of course we need to have identical cards. I have some double cards, especially when it comes to the 8800 GTS and the GTX, but I don't have the Ultra card, and we can even set it up some cards in triple SLI to make it even more crazier than it already is. But we're going to use like single graphic cards now today. I just want to give you like a quick overview what the performance, because in my opinion the reason is this video quite interesting in 2021 is that when you're looking at these graphics cards, nothing has been changed actually. The reason why is because the idea behind graphic cards and I think everything goes is exactly the same. Okay guys, so for this video I have used my mainboard, retro mainboard, the P5NT Deluxe. This was not like the Extreme Edition back in the day from Asus, but it was a quite interesting mainboard. It had a lot of capabilities, a very interesting chipset, and most important, it has all the options that we need for testing out high-end graphics cards. Alright, so what we're going to do, also combine it with 4GB OCZ very fast memory, so everything has been balanced and fast enough. But what we're going to get is, in combination with Windows 7, the most beefy PC you could buy. Also, what we're going to get is a very fast CPU. That was the Q9550, one of the best CPUs you can get for the socket 775. And I was very pleased to find one. After the BIOS update, I had the capability of combining this with the mainboard and get the best support. So that's what we're going to use in this video for testing the graphics card and just mess around with it. And then overall, does it run Crysis, of course. Okay, so let's talk about the graphic cards. 8800 Ultra Edition. That was the most beefy card you can get back in today. And the reason I just wanted to say this was the beefy one. From this one, it was always like it stepped down. It was released in 2007 already, like had the G80 graphic processor. They're basically using all of the same chipsets, only like one has been slightly overclocked, the other one has more like beefed up memory, and overall there were quite some difference, but this was more like the fastest in the series. Okay, so if you're going to do a step back, we're going to get the 8800 GTX. The price difference between these cards was like a couple of $100. That was just crazy. And then we're having like the 8800 GTS. But the GTS we have basically having two versions, and I will explain you now what I mean with this. So with the GTS series we had the 320 megabyte edition, the MSI over here, and my XFX version is the 640 MB edition. Yep, we're having like, to make it even more confusing, we're having more like two different memory versions. There was not like a different speed or different cores, no, exactly the same card, only with more memory. And the only thing was like maybe getting one or maybe two extra frames. So this is the reason I'm just going to use the 640 megabyte edition. But if you didn't see my main review about these graphics cards, what I find super fascinating is that a lot of games that I had on Steam are still playable. So a fun game like Blaze Rush, like the indie games, they all run just fine on a really old 10-year computer. So that is the thing that a lot of people maybe not realizing, is that even they see it like e-waste, like who buys this old graphic card. Yeah man, even if you have like this old PC laying around, you can still play some awesome games with it. Okay guys, so let's talk about the Crysis game, because this is why I wanted to make this video in the first place. Oh man, seeing this intro, it gives me so many good memories, because I've played this game so much in single player, but especially in multiplayer mode. Yeah, a lot of people I speak didn't even play this game in the multiplayer mode, and it was so much fun because it gives like the old school feeling like Quake 3 and Unreal 1999. Okay, so let's do a quick chit chat about the resolution. So I'm so used playing this game on full HD at least with every single game, but back in the day we needed to put it on 2080 by 768, otherwise I couldn't even get it to give me a stable and decent enough frame rate to enjoy the game. Okay guys, so let's start off with the 8800 GTS 640MB edition. And this version was a quite interesting one. So it was basically like the first model that you can buy, and it had the possibility to play Crysis, but you can see like the frame rate goes all places. So with the beginning of the game, it didn't need to render a lot of stuff, and I got sometimes even a 60 FPS stable frame rate. If I'm going to put it on full HD, just forget about it. I think I used the resolution 680 by 1050 back in the day with my HP monitor, and it even had a lot of issue with the 8800 GTS. With the 640MB edition, we had slightly some better FPS, but it was not enough to run it on 60 FPS when having like higher resolutions, or you're going to get to the parts of the game that needed, let's say, more, let's say, juice. You can see like with beginning of this game, it even dipped into 48 FPS. So most of the game was playable, but it still had a lot of issues here and there. So the game I'm running has like the latest firmware update, so you get the best compatibility. And this is what you're going to get with the 8800 GTS. It's a great card back in the day. I enjoyed playing Crysis on this graphic card because I spent like in euros, it was around 350 euros for a graphic card. And yeah, I was super pleased with it because I didn't have more money to spend. Okay, so I can still remember the day when I got my first GTX. That was exactly the XFX you're having here. This is not the same card because I bought it second hand and I sold it afterwards because I wanted to get a new card. But I had a very positive experience with this. So this card was getting even more power, so we got more FPS, but it was also getting really hot. I think it even tipped like 80 up to 90 Celsius. It was just crazy. And it was more like a card. It cost even more money, but the performance was like a gigantic boost, and I can even play it on 680 by 1050 with a lot of good result when it comes to the FPS, in combination with some shaders put on the first settings. And overall the 8800 GTX was a beast of a machine and beast of a card, and the price tag didn't lie with this one too. But how did it run with Crysis, of course, because this is what this video all about. So when it comes to Crysis, we did get the same result, or same result, almost the same result. Because this was like a minor step up. I already told you like we could have the option to add like some extra filters to give a more special effect to it. Using it at a higher resolution this time. But in overall, when you're using the same resolution, it still has like a stable 40-50 FPS. It was a lot of fun playing it. I played the same part all over again, did get to the sunset rise, and I must say that with that part, of course, it dips like crazy. And overall, it was pretty cool to play this game. It was like the graphic card killer. But back in the day, there was one of the 3 cards that we could buy. So when you're looking at the 8800 Ultra, I just personally realized there's nothing has been changed, because if you have a lot of money to burn, you can buy yourself a crazy expensive, basically, graphics card. I think you spend around 850 euro for this card. It was the most expensive one you could get. And if you put it in an SLI or triple SLI and you had even more money to burn, you would get like a lot of greater performance. But overall, this thing was slightly overclocked, got a way better cooling, but overall, like, when you're looking at the specifications, it was very similar to the previous model. It was more like a minor step up, if you ask me. And when you're looking at the graphic card, the 8800 GTX, you can see they are using the same PCB, only added some extra cooling elements on the back. And of course, we're going to get a completely redesigned of the cooler. So this is basically what you're paying for. And it was quite interesting to see. And nowadays, I need to laugh about it, to be honest. So when playing Crysis again, the same story doesn't apply now, because you can see like we're having way better performance, hitting the 60 FPS with the same resolution, the same settings like we did before. So you can see like it was more like the ultimate Crysis killer card, or was not really killing Crysis because it's still Crysis killing the graphics card. But you're getting my point. It's more like getting a way better performance. It still dips. So if you're going to put it on low resolution, maybe then you're going to get 60 FPS. But what I find always very interesting with these graphic cards, even back in the day and now, is that we still need to spend a lot of money on graphics card getting the best results. Can a banana run Crysis in 2021? No, it can, my wicked family. But the reason I wanted to make this video is that this is more for me like the beginning of the gaming on PC again. I spent not a lot of money on this device because I basically bought only 8800 GTX new back in the day and the GTX used, and I never got the Ultra because I was thinking this thing is completely overpriced. And even up to today, nothing has been changed. If you're going to burn a lot of money on the graphic card, you're going to get sometimes like a minor improvement. And sometimes you're going to get a lot of issues. And overall, like with the Ultra, it was like a freaking nightmare because these things were getting really hot. They don't have the issues so far now anymore, so I'm very pleased to see that. But overall, like a lot of things didn't change out, and I want to say never, but I would not say going to buy the most expensive card for my gaming rig. I'm always searching for the best graphic card for my buck. I want to thank you all for watching, guys. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the wicked family, because we're going to do a lot of reviews of packages from China. We're going to talk about a lot of retro game stuff, including a lot of PC stuff. It will be great to have you here, and I will see you in the next video.